Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's Carm Capriato, another Town Hall Academy. Actually, our 216th week of doing this. God, what a pleasure I have in bringing so many in the industry together to talk about stuff that's going on and, apropos trending topics. Good to have you here. We're going to talk about rethinking your ASE certification. And I may get on my soapbox today, just a little bit. Hey, we're coming to you live from the Remarkable Results Radio podcast studio. Good to have you here. And just in case you're with us, and I know you're going to be with us on social media, give us a like. How about a comment? Check in with your city and even share this thing. And we see all the comments in the studio, all the guests do. So if you've got a question for us, we wouldn't mind having that. Hey, good Friday to you all. Glad to have you here. I got a heck of a panel going on. Let me introduce Trish Saratori, Senior Vice President, ASE. Hello, Trish.
Hello, Carm. Pleasure to be here.
Hey, we've done some episodes recently. We've released one-on-one with me and you, and then another one coming up is with the ASE Educational Foundation that you're on.
Yes.
And here we are doing an ASE broadcast on the town hall. So, Carm put on his 2021 agenda that we were going to do some stuff with ASE this year, and we are hitting it home.
We are. This is great. More to come.
I know. Thank you. Brian Stafford's with us. Brian, how are you, my friend?
I'm great.
Parkway Automotive, Little Rock, Arkansas. And he was on an episode with me on mentoring a while back.
Sure was.
Good to have you here. Tell us about your ASE certifications, my friend.
I have all of them for the most part. Let's see. So do you want to go from the beginning?
Well, how about, do you have the L1
You want
advanced?
the story?
Do you have the L1?
Sure do.
All right.
Yep.
Well, that's good. I mean, but maybe spice through the rest of the episode. Maybe you want to drop one or two. I have that. Mark Murphy's with us, the lead technician, Dynamic Automotive, Frederick, Maryland. L1, Mark?
Yes, sir.
Wow. How come you guys can do it and some others can't?
I think I currently hold A1 through A9, L1, C1, X1, and the light maintenance. Is that G1, Trish?
That's G1, yes.
Okay, and G1.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
All right. So listen, before we go too much further, I want to be sure I pay homage to the people that make this happen to us, our sponsors. Now, how much paper have you touched today? Those are piles of time stacked all over the shop. Now think of what you could do with all of that time and how many more cars you could get through the door. Cha-ching! It's time for a digital shop management system. Get shopware.com. And hey, does your social media truly represent your shop, or is it just plain old vanilla generic posts? Well, it doesn't have to be that way. The experts at Shop Marketing Pros listen and create social content that connects you to your community on the web at shopmarketingpros.com. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and thanks. Okay, everybody, we are about ready to hit it hard here. Our objective is this. The goal of this broadcast, of this eventual podcast, which we'll release next Thursday, is to have people rethink about certification. I can't understand why, when I talk to shop owners and I talk to technicians, that ASE is not important to us. I don't value ASE. When we have to work our butts off, to convince our customers why. There's too many shops, in my opinion, Trish, that don't than do. And when we talk about a value proposition and the investment in training, and to make sure that that training is working for us, we certify our people in all of these categories. So why? Can I ask that question 20 times? Why is there anyone on the sidelines? And if anybody's listening to us and they don't have ASE certified technicians, why don't you have it? Trish, what do you hear? What's the biggest pushback?
The biggest pushback I hear, first of all, is my techs can fix cars without it. Of course, the whole point of certification isn't to say you can't fix a car. It's to show your customers, to show your community that not only can you fix cars, but you are certified by the only independent third-party organization that verifies that. So it's like icing on the cake, right? Yes, anyone can bake a cake, but the best part is the icing. So why wouldn't you take that opportunity to showcase your skill level, your knowledge, your ability to read and write, your ability to diagnose and repair properly and efficiently and effectively to everyone you can. You don't go to a doctor who isn't board certified. Why would a customer go to a technician that isn't ASE certified?
Yeah. Mark, have you ever worked for a place that didn't have and didn't highlight or care about ASE?
I have not.
Well, that's good. Good for you, right? So it's part of your culture. Do you see value in having your ASEs, Mark?
I see it both ways. I'm not pro or anti-ASE. I did my testing for me to see if I could do it. My best friend, we've worked together for years. He still works for the company at another location. He is a superstar technician. He could do it in his sleep, but if you put an ASE test in front of him, he'll struggle all day long. And then I'm the exact opposite. I have zero problems taking the ASE test, but have a problem from time to time working on a car. That's when it's time to call him. But I took them like the service consultant test. Never opened a book or none, just went and took it. I don't even rate service, just to see if I could pass it.
So that brings up a great question to go back to you, Trish, with some people aren't good test takers, right?
Yes, right.
What's the percentage of people in our world that don't take good tests?
Well, I don't know that I can answer that question. I think I can say that the pass rate overall at ASE is, a little over 2/3 of the people who take an ASE test pass. Now that's going to vary test by test, right? The L1 pass rate's a little lower because it's a much more difficult and complex test. And we have some folks maybe taking it who aren't quite ready to take it. I think we also have to talk about reading level and technicians are good with their hands, right? That's what they grew up wanting to do and doing well. So helping technicians get what they know here into their hand to answer the question, sometimes that's a little struggle. So that's why you have those good test takers who might not be great technicians, and you have great technicians who aren't good test takers. So somewhere in the middle is the balance that ASE tries to achieve with a good reading level and questions that are specific to the task at hand.
Yeah. Brian, how about
that?
I'm sorry. Good, Mark. Thank you. Brian, are you a good test taker, and do you value your certifications?
I think Trish has nailed it on every point so far. I would not say I'm a good test taker at all. I even had a fear of failure, headed into that test. You can't make excuses, though, regardless of the fear of failure or I don't need it or whatever it is. You're just making excuses. This is for someone new to this industry or whatever it is. If this is the field they want to be in, this is your career, and every career has these advancements that you have to take, and this is part of ours. So to not advance through this and become a master certified tech, you're killing yourself. You're shooting yourself in the foot. It's absurd to me that you wouldn't want to advance, and you show some pride, for the career in the industry that you're in. So for me, the tests were only difficult in a sense where they throw those little trick questions or the trick answers in there where it's like two answers are almost perfect, but they only want one. Those were the ones I really struggled on. But if you put a diagram in front of me and I can trace it and follow it, is good with that.
Now, Trish, that's done on purpose?
So ASE questions are designed to filter and really verify the knowledge that you have. So when we ask our subject matter experts to write the questions. And remember, ASE, we don't write them. You all do. The industry experts, our technical folks out in the field write them. They're going to look at the question, and we want to have what we call distractors, right? So we want to be sure that you can identify the correct answer in the 4 choices. But, we don't want to make it too easy for you, right? We want to make sure you've got to think about the question and think about the experience you've had with that situation and then pick the right answer. I will tell you, there is only one right answer, despite what, it looks like. There really is one right answer. Some of the challenges, perhaps that you have had an experience with that question in a repair situation recently, and how you fixed it isn't portrayed in one of the 4 answers. So sometimes that kind of stumps you a little bit, but read the question, read it a couple times, and pick the answer that looks best to you based on what the question is asking.
There you go, Brian. It's our fault. We wrote the test.
Well, Mark, I was kind of like you. I didn't open a book before I took my test, and I've passed every single one without failure. And I couldn't have been happier to be able to say it wasn't the book work that passed the test. It was me. And the fact that I worked with all the other technicians I had, I absorbed all of the other information that I could from them, and the experiences that I had is what allowed me to pass that test. So that's why I say don't make excuses like I'm just not good at tests. If you've been in this industry for a couple of years, don't let that hold you back. You need to advance. I mean, being able to say I'm a master tech is huge. I wouldn't do it any other way. And I wish I would have done it sooner, but it took me several years because I was in that mindset of it's not necessarily a job, but I started this doing a hobby and it was fun. And then I got to a position where I could learn from other technicians. And I worked as best I could, learning and absorbing that information. And ASEs was not on the top of the list. Now, my boss always, was pushing me to do it. And I was like, I'm not ready. And I did that for probably 3 years or 4 years until finally he was like, why don't you just give it a shot?
So
I was like, okay.
You said something beautiful, my boss, and both Mark and Brian, please share the answer to this because you each have different bosses, different parts of the country. Why, Mark, does Dwayne value ASE certifications?
Bringing customers in the door. That credential that sits on the counter or on the wall behind the service counter. I'm not sure we want to go into this. The consumer really value and appreciate the power of what ASE certifications are about, because that opens up an interesting can of worms, Trish, that I'm not sure we want to go down into this particular episode with technicians here on the panel. But I think it's our job more than anything to say to our customer, this is one of the reasons you come here is because of our commitment to training and certifying that training through ASE, be it Blue Seal or whatever. If we're not promoting the patch on the shoulder, if we're not promoting the certification hanging up in the lobby, if we don't have the sign on the counter, and if we're not making this part of the value proposition that we are, then shame on us. And Mark, that's why you say the customer values you, because we tell the customer correct
why it's important.
Yep, you have to sell the customer on that.
We have to be the talking head in the industry. As much as ASE nonprofit testing kind of company pulls it all together, and is it 50 years next year, right, Trish?
50 years. Yeah.
And we're waiting for ASE to do a national campaign to tell you that ASE is important. You don't have $20 million to do that. You just don't.
No,
because that's
right. We are the least expensive credential out there for an occupation, and that money goes right back into making sure that we can offer our technicians the best tests and the best value. We'll do whatever we can, and if we could join forces with our industry, with our shop owners, with our partners, then we're happy to do whatever we can. A quick story, Carm, I have to tell you, I was just a little sad. There was a Facebook post on some Facebook organization, and they showed an ASE sign in the trash. And I got to tell you, I mean, I've been working for ASE for 35 years, and boy, that just like hit me in the heart, to think that somebody didn't think enough of their own industries created, maintained personal credential, that they would do that. And so I really I'm just so happy to be here with Mark and Brian, who are the best of the best, and showcasing their pride and their company's pride in what they've achieved.
Put that Greg Skolnick comment up again. I thought, Greg, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Greg is always, always hangs out with us. In his state, Maryland, I think it is, Greg, you got to be licensed to cut somebody's hair. But you can work on somebody's brakes on that 65-mile-an-hour bullet, and you don't need to have a license. Nor would I come into a shop in Maryland and say, I only want someone who's certified in brakes, ASE brakes, to work on my car. Why have we missed the mark over all these years? We want to make sure that there's a diploma from the dentist and the doctor on the wall. And oh, by the way, not all doctors are good. Not all dentists are perfect, and they don't all take good tests. So
right, and that was an industry decision 50 years ago, Carm. They made the decision that they would go the route of certification rather than licensure. Certification is a higher standard than licensure, which has to kind of be at the most common denominator. ASE is not against licensure. We participate in the state of Michigan's licensure program. You can be ASE certified or state of Michigan. Same for, I believe, Hawaii, Connecticut, some parts of Florida. So we're not against certification or licensure. What we don't want is a tax on our industry, right? Because some licensures are simply a tax to do business. We want to be sure that certification verifies skills and knowledge. If a licensure program can do that, then we're happy to be a part of it.
So let's take a step back. What we said earlier, some techs aren't good test takers, and that could be one of the reasons that they stay away from ASE. Could another one be that they want their employer to pay for it? And let me also throw another loop in this whole discussion. Some employers give a bonus per hour in wage for being ASE certified. I think it's one of the best ideas in the world to motivate someone to stay current and to continue to train, because they know that in X amount of time they have to recertify. By the way, let's talk about the ASE certification app a little later. But I have all these ideas floating through my head. Why don't you help me bring it to a conclusion, team?
Well, I'll ask Mark and Brian. Do your businesses pay for your certifications?
Mark, you can go first if you want.
Yep. Dynamic pays for our certifications.
Yeah. So Parkway will pay for your test if you pass it. If you don't, then it's on you. But again, I would say anyone that says their business won't pay for their test is making excuses. I would have absolutely paid for every single one of my tests. So I think it comes down to the person and what's in their heart, and are they dedicated to this career and industry? Do you have pride in your work? I just go back to that every time. If you don't have pride in what you're doing, then you're not going to want to continue and excel and advance. And the ASE test is just that certification is another way to show customers what you can do. I've even heard our service advisors, sitting down with a customer saying, okay, Mr. Customer, I'm going to set you up with Brian. He's one of our master certified technicians, and he's going to be working on your vehicle today. That sounds amazing versus Mr. Customer, I've got Brian. He's going to do your oil change, and he doesn't have any certifications, but he can do an oil change. There's this huge difference in that.
There should be two people feeling really damn proud of what that service advisor says when they say, Brian, our ASE certified master technician, got to make you proud. And the next person that I think should be happy is the customer.
Absolutely.
I would agree.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a mindset. You have two type of people that get up and go to their job every day, and then the people who get up and go to their career every day.
Right.
And if you go to your career every day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who pays for it. do it for yourself.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Do
Yeah.
it to better yourself.
Yeah.
Just to have the pleasure of knowing that you did it.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And we've done some research that shows that certified technicians have longer tenure, which from a business owner perspective should be thrilling because we know recruitment and retention are just huge issues in our industry today.
Sure.
We also know that they're, along with training, certification provides good repair stats. So that's another good reason for folks to take a look at us.
Hey, let me stop for one moment. And again, thank our sponsors. Every piece of paper you touch adds up to seconds, minutes, and hours of your staff's time. Hey, get the paper out of your business and unlock your employees' potential with Shopware's digital shop management system. Go to getshopware.com. And is your marketing company sharing the same vanilla social media posts for you that they do with every other shop? Well, that's not how Shop Marketing Pros does business. They believe each shop is unique with its own story. Contact them today at shopmarketingpros.com. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and thanks. Hey, if you're going to be here next week, same time, same bat channel, we're going to actually present the graduation certificate to Jason Molnar for having completed his apprentice out at McNeil's out in Utah. And we're excited about that because, Trish, I'm so hot and heavy on apprenticing this year, done a lot of shows. We're going to continue to do shows, keep interviewing apprentices because I still believe proof of concept going forward from this day on. Let's look back 5 years and say, I don't have a technician shortage because I grew my own. Now, I'm a big believer in high school post-secondary, but at the same time, we're only graduating X number a year. And if 250,000 shops all decided to take on an apprentice or build a program like that, and they got their, this is a really cool, I think, segment, Trish, to talk about. And again, we've talked about it before, and we'll talk about it next Friday. Here is an apprentice going through with an ASE ritual involved in the 2-year apprentice program, which means they've got to qualify for their ASEs during the apprentice program. What do you think happens to the techs inside the shop that aren't certified?
Well, a couple things happen. First of all, we want to hope that they're going to walk into an employment situation where the business, like Mark and Brian's, is welcoming to training and certification and supports all of that. And for that young person coming in, he's going to see his peers and the folks above him who are already certified and get and support training. So he's going to think that's the way it should be. So he's going to move through his career thinking that's great. Sometimes we walk into a situation where the shop's not quite as open to training and doesn't support certification. And maybe that apprentice ends up on the lube rack for 2 years. And then guess what, guys? They leave, right? They leave us. So we have to be really careful in our employment situations that with an apprentice or an intern or a newbie, we got to be good role models, right? We have to show them the way it's supposed to be and be, walking the talk the whole time.
Brian, Mark, any experience with, again, Mark, I know you guys have an apprentice program there. Has it ever motivated someone else in the shop that didn't have full certifications to get on track with it?
I do believe so. Yeah. We, new hires, we try to get them through ASE as quickly as possible and get them certified.
A great story that came out of McNeil's out in Utah. They actually wrote this program 4 years ago, and Napa took it for them nationally. And the story is, and I am dying to find out what the number is, Trish, but when they started their apprentice program 4 years ago, and ASE was a major component of it, almost everyone in the shop that had been lagging behind or was not certified, it just like
they jumped in.
60-70% of the team just went up and says, well, if Jason can get it, and I've been doing this for 20 years, I need to get it.
That's right. That's right. And I think, Brian said it, there's a little bit of fear of failure. Nobody wants to put their skills and knowledge to the test, and nobody likes tests, right? We already know we're hated for that. And I get that, nobody wants to take their car in to get fixed. So we kind of are on that same path there. But, if we get past that fear of failure and understand that I know this stuff and I want to show it off, right? That we can do it.
Let's talk about that fear of failure and not being a good test taker. Mark, you brought that up earlier. Is it possible that the fear of not passing from as you would classify a person as a double A tech, great tech, what if they just went for one of the tests and realized, wow, I know all this stuff. This was easy. Don't you think that fear is helping people cross the line?
I think it's holding them back. Some of them it's holding them back, and then some of them it's pushing them across the line. I was nervous too when I was taking them, but you're not going to know unless you try.
Yeah.
I need to reach out to the employers who are listening to this. And if you sat down with an employee, a technician, and said, so listen, we're paying your ASE. We have a premium and you've decided not to do this. Why? And become the psychologist and help this person through it and says, hey, go take your breaks. Come on, you can do breaks blindfolded. You shouldn't have a problem taking that test. Can I walk you down the line if it takes us 2 years to get this done? Come on. I think leadership is a very critical point in getting ASE certifications done. Shop foreman, owner, service, whoever it is, we've got to embrace our industry. And, I guess one of my worries, Trish, has always been as autonomy comes on and as you guys are developing ADAS certifications. Oh my God, they're doing AS certification. Whoa. I mean, that's some of the most high-tech stuff we ever have on a vehicle. Smart, intelligent, lots of lines of code, lots of sensors, a critical piece to keep that vehicle going down the road. Let me see. OE designed your car to do this many, many years ago, but now OE designs your car not only to do this, but to stay on the road and to stop in time. And so we need to do certifications on that. My point is that all the high-tech stuff that's going to come out, I just have this crazy thought that in 15 years, the government's going to step in and say, hey, whoa, we've got crashes going on. People are working on vehicles. They don't know what they're doing. They're not aligning this stuff right. We've got to step in. And I'm telling you, Trish, if you had 575,000 certified ASEs on all these big things, and you may, but I don't know. My point is, we don't need the government.
Right. We're here for you. If the industry wants a test, a certification, a program, we tell us, we are your industry organization. We want to be relevant. We want to make sure that the test does what it's supposed to do so that you can embrace it. And if you have trouble testing or you're a business that isn't sure where to start, we've got practice tests, we've got little videos, we've got sample test questions. We've got a whole grouping of things on our website, Test and Prep, just for you to help businesses build that career pathway that includes ASE.
Am I crazy, Brian? In what I'm saying?
No, I think you're spot on. I would almost wonder if I've always heard dealers don't care about ASEs. They have their own certification, and I could be totally wrong with that. That's just what I've heard from a few people. Like say Chrysler, you're only getting certified with their manufacturer, their brand, and the rest doesn't matter. So I almost wonder if there's not some overspill into our world of independent where certifications matter versus dealer specific certifications.
So to speak to that, yes, I would say that almost every vehicle manufacturer supports ASE in one way, shape, or another. Some actually build it into their technician training programs where you can't progress to the next level of training or recognition without having ASE certifications. In many cases, that's the only way to do it. Other manufacturers might have a little bit softer approach where if you have it, you can test out of a particular training program, but it might not be necessarily required to advance within their kind of recognition programs. But all of them support us, it just in different ways. I will say, though, let's not compare the OE to the aftermarket from a requirement perspective. Let's be sure that we're using ASE for the reason it was created, and that's to help the customer understand where to find quality auto repair. Whether that's a dealer or an independent, you use it to showcase how good you are as a technician and as a business. And that's where I think the value of ASE has, plays a role for both technicians and businesses.
Yeah, I know from my standpoint, the way I say I grew up with Parkway. Parkway's been the only shop that I've worked at, and this December will be 13 years. So I feel like I grew up with Parkway, and I'm very close with the owner, Mike Davison, and he was the one that always pushed me to not let that fear of failure hold me back and to continue taking these tests. And then once I realized that I didn't need to be scared of them, that I could pass them, like you say, at least just attempt it.
Right.
Then
Right.
That's all it took. And I was, like I said, I passed every test without failure. And that was, at the end of this L1 master, that was the happiest I've ever been. Like I felt like I've reached the top of my career as far as, what I was able to take. I know there's some other certifications above that, but for what we do in our shop, that's as much as you needed. That's as high as you could go. And that was an amazing feeling.
Absolutely.
Trish, we just had a request to put out.
Sure.
It says, can you put a link of how to get info and scheduled? I let my ASEs run out over 6 years ago.
Sure.
Tracy, could you post it in the comments? What is it again, Trish?
It's
ASE.org?
ASE.com. And if you haven't created a My ASE profile, there's a button right at the top of the ASE.com website. Go right there, create an account. Everything you need to know is right there, where the tests are, how much they cost, where to go, what they are. It's all right there for you. But ASE.com is the main link, and then create an account at the link that says My ASE. So.
Okay,
Yeah.
we just posted it in the comments. Thank you for that.
And let me remind you, if you were certified at one point, you can come back and take the recert tests. So you don't even have to take the regular longer ones. You can take the shorter recertification tests as long as you were certified at one time in that particular test category.
Ellen says, awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Have we made our point strong enough yet? I mean, I'm sitting here. I just don't want to hit the off button here unless we can sway some people over the line here. Guys, Trish, what still needs to be said to get our people off their duffs? And we're investing in training. Vision was this past week.
Yeah.
All kinds of people went to phenomenal training. You invest in that training and you wouldn't have an ASE. I don't get it.
Yeah. If you do that training and that, Vision and all the other great training that's out there, helping to understand that you've absorbed it and that you can put it into action is another value of what ASE brings, right? Because to Brian and Mark's points, it's an experience requirement. You have to have 2 years of experience before we're actually going to certify you, right? So we want to be sure that we can verify all that experience, all that wealth of training that you're getting each year and on through your career. So ASE and training go hand in hand, both personally and professionally for what's going on in our industry today. And it's just really, it's a shame if the industry doesn't take advantage of the organization they created.
Huh.
Well,
very good.
Well, I would add with shops and owners or shop foremans, Mark's right with there being two different people, whether it's a career for them or a job, and I feel the same way. I would also put responsibility on the shop owner and manager as far as pushing their team of techs to become ASE certified. If the owner doesn't care about it or doesn't have a high level of interest in it, then his techs won't either. You may have one or two of those techs that have pride in themselves like I do, and I wanted to be at the top of my career, and I wanted to be able to tell people I'm a master technician. I'm L1 master certified. I wanted to be able to say that because it meant more to me than anything else did. And if I didn't have a boss that pushed me, then maybe I wouldn't have done it. Maybe it wouldn't have clicked in my mind to, okay, I'm going to push and I'm going to do this, because I'm that type of person that can be a little lazy, can get stuck in a groove, and he pushed me out of it. And ever since then, I'm fully loyal. So I would say it's got to be some responsibility on the shop and the owner to help push their techs to do it.
Yes.
Can I take exception to that? Not just because I'm the host of the show. Okay. Look, here's my point. I agree with you, Brian, that the owner needs to take some responsibility, but I also think the individual does, and here's why. If I'm working in a shop, it's a stepping stone. It's one of multiple places that I may work my career in, and I'm working for a place that doesn't value ASE and doesn't care about it. So do I continue working there because no one's going to push me, or do I say I'm going to push myself so that as I start getting ASE certified, I can find a better job? And then I go interview, and they interview me, but I interview them, and I find out from them, do they care and hold ASE in high standards? And are they going to pay for those? And are they going to continue to give us training so that I can advance in my ASE certifications? Again, owners need to embrace and push continuous certification, and yes, certifications at all. But I also think there's a halfway meeting point.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think it is a little bit of both. And let's talk about the fact that businesses are looking for people to come to work for them, right? So they're going to have a culture that supports training, education, good business practices, ethics. Those are the businesses that are going to stay in business 5, 10, 15 years, into the future for now. And so you want young people coming into your business with an understanding that that's the way it's supposed to be. This is a career. This is a business that serves customers every day. And so I need to get my training. I need to get my certifications. And I want to work for an organization that supports that.
Boy.
Very well said. You have to have the 1-2. If you don't have the one, you're never going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
and you know what?
everybody.
A lot of other businesses are poaching and stealing our young people. So we got to be really, really aware of this. Yeah.
You just said the word poaching, and I could get on my soapbox about that. But just let me just again thank Shopware. Hey, when was the last time you heard a customer say, "Thanks for taking my money"? Get Shopware Shop Management software, and your customers are going to be shouting it from the rooftops in overwhelming 5-star reviews. Learn more at getshopware.com. And when someone searches for a shop, are they finding your place or your competitors? Well, it should be you. The good people over at Shop Marketing Pros know how to drive website traffic and make Google work for you on the web at shopmarketingpros.com. I've had a lot of fun with this. I think this was very smart, very articulate. The comments were great. Thank you all so much. I know there were a lot of questions asked, but my group was on a roll here, and I didn't want to interrupt them too much. But our whole objective is to think recertification, and please button this up, Trish, with the app and how important and valuable that the app is going to be for continuing to stay certified.
Right. So I noticed a couple of people were asking, I've been doing it for 10, 15, 20, 35 years. Why do I have to keep going back to a test center? So ASE took a look at that and have developed what we call the ASE renewal app. And it is a app that you can sign up on your phone and for a subscription, and you get test questions once a month. And when you ring the bell, answer the 8 questions that let you achieve certification. Your ASE certification will be extended for another year. So it allows you, particularly if you've recertified several times, to not have to go to a test center and keep your certifications up to date using your phone. Now, it's only in the automobile series, so we don't have it available for the others yet. But for auto, A1 through A9, you can use this app to extend your certifications and go on and on and on, and do it once a month. You can answer it once a month, or you can gang them up. You get second chance questions, and it's just a really easy way to keep your certifications current.
Now,
That's only available for the recert, right?
Yes, you have to have been certified in the A series prior to recertifying using the app. That's correct. Yes. Brian, you had a question?
You mentioned that it only goes for a year and then you're doing it again?
Mm-hmm. So the way it works is, go ahead.
If you go to a facility and take a recert, in that 2-3 years, isn't there a difference in time frame?
There is. So recertification by going to a test center is 5 years, right? Then from the date you tested. Our goal here is so you just don't have to even do that or think about it. You just would answer each question, the questions every year, and your certification would just continually be extended.
Now, let me clear up something. I've done episodes on the ASE app. Go to my website, type in ASE app, and you'll hear the episodes. And I'm not an expert at this, but Trish, but don't you get like a question a week or a month or something like that?
Yeah, you get a question a month in every area you're certified. So if you're certified in 8 areas, you'll get 8 times 8 questions a month, and then you have to answer them. And again, you can answer them right away once you get them, or if you want to gang them up, do a bunch, a week, you can do it that way. As long as you get them all answered before your expiration, you're good to go.
So it's perpetual certification. If you have 8 certifications, you get 8 questions a month. And I do believe it's pretty intelligent. I even think if you pass it, they'll give you another one because they want you to pass. And they keep working the system, I think.
Right. So if you answered all your 8 questions and you still had a little time left on your subscription, we have some additional questions that they might be a little bit OE specific. They might be a little advanced technology. So the goal of the app is also to give you a little learning experience at the same time. We also have some remediation built in. We've got a chat function. We've got an ASE private Facebook page for the app. So we've got a lot of support around the whole program.
Well, look, I'm thrilled we had this conversation. I really do think it went where we wanted to go. I think we got a little tenactic when we needed to be. I thought we talked, Brian, Mark, excellent. Thank you for your feet in the street perspective on the value and the power of ASE. And thanks to Mike and to the team at Dynamic, Dwayne Lee and Jose for their commitment to ASE, and Trish for everything that you do at ASE and for supporting all this great knowledge that we need to have. I think we almost need to go out and say, listen, we're the top people in our industry that don't have ASE as part of their culture are missing the boat. And the 20 groups and the peer groups and the communities that exist, I'm not sure we're talking enough about the power and the value of ASE certification. And I have to say this. Yes, it's internal. Yes, it's powerful. Yes, it certifies what our knowledge level is. But I think we miss the whole boat at the consumer's perspective. I believe we aren't telling the consumer enough why we invest in the equipment, why we invest in training, and how we verify our return on our investment. And that is we certify our people through a national standard called ASE. And I'm telling you, I think that closes the deal every time.
Yes. You could said it better, Carm. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Hey, thanks for all the great comments. What are we doing next week? One more time, an apprentice thing. It's going to be a cool show. and we're going to give Jason Molnar his graduation certificate. So thanks for being here, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Great.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Carm. Take care,
Thank you
everyone.
for having us.